I was proudly the person responsible for the ending of Roe v. Wade.
I was raped by my stepfather after years of sexual abuse. At age 12, I took my first pregnancy test, and it was positive. That was the first time I was ever told, you have options. I can't imagine not having a choice. But today, that's the reality for many women and girls across the country because of Donald Trump's abortion bans.
And in many ways, it's a beautiful thing to watch.
He calls it a beautiful thing. What is so beautiful about a child having to carry her parents' child?
Ours is a fight for the future, and it is a fight for freedom. Like the freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government telling her what to do. We will move forward.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. We got another good one lined up for you today. I'm Jeremy. That's Mike. And not only do we have a special guest today, but we are going to have some extremely fun videos lined up here for you. We're going to do some DNC highlights, some of our favorite moments from the DNC. Donald Trump's reaction, totally rational reaction to the DNC.
It was exactly what you think. And we have the numbers to prove it.
I know, right? Total panic mode. Total panic mode. We're going to talk about Donald Trump launching a new series of NFTs. That's right. He's grifting again. And we're also going to talk about some comments he's made about Kamala Harris since the DNC, him panicking. He called Fox. They hung up on him. Not hung up on him. But then he called Gutfeld on Fox, and then he kicked him off the phone, and then he wasn't really done with that. So then he called Newsmax. So we're going to go over that. And then we're going to talk about his recent appearance. His appearance is not good. He doesn't look good in Arizona. He actually looks like he's physically melting, mentally and physically melting in real time.
Well, we know blackface, but now officially you got to see he has clown makeup on, actual clown makeup.
He does. So before we get into all that, we do have a special guest, like I promised everybody tonight. Welcome back to the show, Tennessee Brando. What's up, big guy?
Hey, guys, good to be back.
I know, right? We were just talking about before the show. You were supposed to be on the show the day that Joe Biden dropped out, and we didn't find out until the opening video was playing that Joe Biden had dropped out. So that kind of screwed everything up. But welcome back.
Hey, it's good to be here.
No,
things have changed since then.
I know a lot has changed since then. We've had time to process it because that was a shock, but we've had time to process it. And like you said before the show, Brando, there's like a feeling of optimism and hope in the air that we haven't felt in a really long time. Now, you recently went to a Harris Waltz. It wasn't a rally for that. I mean, it was a rally for them, but they weren't at the rally, but it was in Tennessee. Yeah,
it was in Knoxville, Tennessee on Market Square. And, Gloria Johnson from the Tennessee 3 showed up to speak. And it was really cool, man, seeing people come out for that. Like we were talking before the show started, you don't see Trump rallies like that. You don't see a rally where people gathers to talk on behalf of Trump. It was really cool. I mean, it was a lot of good energy. It was just really good being there. I felt really good about it, especially, we're such a blood red state here, but there's a lot more blue dots than I even realized. And I was really excited to see Market Square just slam packed with people excited. There was like one troll in the whole place. We had one troll, but hollering Trump here and there. But
of course,
for the most part, it was a good time. It was a great time.
Yeah, we
wait. What I want to know is, did all the communist, Marxist, leftists rough up this one Trump voice?
No, that's the thing.
Oh wow, that's weird.
Yeah,
what was this?
Exactly.
Did you guys read a story? I read a story before the show about some of Trump's staff getting in an altercation with.
I just saw a headline or two.
Yeah, me too.
Something to do with what happened at Arlington. Like they were taking campaign pictures in an area, and somebody got really upset about it.
Yeah, because he was probably like, "Can we dig some of them up and pose them for pictures?" And I'm sorry if that's offensive to anyone, but like that's the dumb shit Trump would say. So
yeah,
I mean, the guy. Look at the picture. The picture, thumbs up. Yeah, over a grave. You're over a gravestone, huh?
Yeah.
Trump 2024. It's like, are you crazy? So all right, so let's get into some of the topics that we have today. So first, I want to go over some of the highlights from the DNC. There was a lot of great moments. We tried to stream as much as we possibly could. But one of my absolute favorite moments had to be Mike Lindell getting owned by a 12-year-old kid.
Oh yeah.
God. That had to be my absolutely favorite.
He made a big deal of him shaving off his mustache after 30 years. Now look, the minute that I could grow a chin hair, I have had at least some form of facial hair. Okay, so I get that, but you're not like hiding yourself from anyone by taking your mustache off. Everyone knows who you are. You look like a goof in your Panama hat, and you're yelling at a 13-year-old who is smoking you. Just flat out kicking your ass. Oh,
yeah.
God.
So let me play this video real quick, and then we'll talk about it. I just love his disguise, as he calls it.
That's in your state. You want to know more in your state? So they just found 257,000 votes. This happened last week. A judge ruled in Georgia that are missing from the 2020 election. So this just came out. You're behind. You should.
So your source is Trust Me, Bro? Damn! That's your source?
The source. It's in your papers in Georgia. You need to read your news.
You haven't given me any last name.
You need to read your news. No, this is your Georgia news.
Yeah.
This is your Georgia news.
Thanks, buddy.
Knock the fuck out!
Oh, you want something too, old man? Huh?
No. The best part for me was at the end. You could barely hear it, but as the kid's walking away, he's like, "Cool hat, bro." But my thing is, like Mike Lindell said, he's shaving off his mustache and going in disguise. So his disguise is literally like porn star sunglasses and a fedora. That's all he did to change.
And then once he starts talking, everybody knows who he is. So where's the disguise?
The voice.
And if he's so proud of him, what I can't figure out, if he's so proud of himself and believes so strongly, why a disguise to start with?
Yeah,
why
but
not
a bunch of them did that. A bunch of these right-wing influencer goofballs. All right, Charlie Kirk went in there. I think he had like blue face paint on. A couple of other people were like had wigs on, like they're infiltrating, like it's some secret. What are you doing?
It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
And then the funny part is they're so lost that they obviously being around that type of energy probably made them uncomfortable. Being around genuine happiness and joy. And you know, it was so apparent from watching it. And you know, you said you went to that rally.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like you said, being in a red state, but being around people that are also feeling that joy? Did it give you hope? And did you see, what was the age group? Like, were you seeing the Gen Z representation?
Oh man, yeah, that's what we talked about after it was over. It was so amazing that there was people from all walks of life. It wasn't just one group. It was people from all walks of life, all age groups. I had people coming up, you know, wanting to take selfies and shake hands and talk and carry on a conversation. And it was all age groups and everybody. And there was so much energy there. So it wasn't like, as I was sitting there, you know, at the rally, soaking it all in and soaking up all that good energy, I was thinking about all the Trump rallies that I've set and broke down, all the clips that I've set and shown. And, you know, there's just so much hate and so much cruelty in what he's doing. You know, it's just driven by, they're coming after us. They're trying to take us down. You know, it's like this victimhood that they have. And being there, it was just like everybody was speaking, you know, being hopeful. And like I said, where I was standing at one point in the show, there was like one troll that was, what was weird about this guy is he was trolling, but it looked like he might have came with his wife or his mom. And like he was just kind of like trying to be a little bit of a troll, but he was also applauding like when they sang, and he was applauding some things they said. So I don't know. He may have just been confused, but no one was like roughing him up. No one was roughing him up. No one was having him thrown out. You know, the speakers weren't saying, "Hey, back in my day, they hit him over the head." You know, there was no cruel rhetoric that was there. It was just all positive.
You're right. Even their not just their policies are trying to bring us backward, but their messaging. These are the people that are like, if you don't beat your kid, you're not raising him right, or you know what I mean? Like,
right?
Exactly. These are the people that make fun of, you know, modern parenting outlooks where you start to realize if you treat your kid like an intellectually capable being, you could teach them complex emotional knowledge very early on. And you could genuinely create an empathetic, rational human being without smacking them across the face and taking away their toys. And it just goes to show you, so many people put their anger into their kids or maybe that's not the word, but they took what was done to them as kids, their parents, the way their parenting was, which was rigid and strict. And they're like, well, I'm going to put that on you. And then they don't understand why eventually people are going to revolt. Generations are going to revolt against that age-old way of doing things.
Yeah.
This is a party that hates science, hates knowledge, hates changing anything about themselves, hates pretending that there might be deficiencies, we might be able to grow. But isn't that the whole point of this? Isn't that the point of this country, is that there was a starting point and we were given a document that can help us grow, right? They love the Second Amendment, but they're talking about originalism. Well, you don't get that if you're okay with amendments. So their mentality is so rigid. They want to stay to their old methods of teaching, their old methods of parenting. And then it comes through in speeches where, like you said, this is what we did back in my day. No one cares about back in your day. Move forward. How can we make things better? And that's what the fundamental difference was in my mind between
Brando,
the two.
do you have any moments that stand out to you from the DNC? Like, did you have any favorite moments?
Oh man, there was a bunch. Of course, I love Kamala's speech. I thought she just knocked it out of the park. I was also really impressed with Adam Kinzinger, because I thought that was a crucial moment to have someone stand. What I really loved about that was when he stood up and said, "You know what?" He's like, "I realize the Democrats are just as patriotic as we are," and I was one of those moments where I was like, "Thank you." When I was streaming that live, I actually said out loud, I was like, "Thank you for that," because we've been made to feel unpatriotic for so long, like we hate our country because we have a different way of thinking, and so that was a standout moment for me for sure.
That's right. Funny. He even said one of the quotes that I remember. I'm pretty sure it was him. He said, "If you vote for Kamala Harris, it doesn't make you a Democrat; it makes you a patriot."
Yeah, he did.
And I thought that was a really deep moment.
That message is growing more than I thought it would, because we've actually talked about it a few times in the past. And I almost felt stupid, like, oh man, we should try and bring patriotism back. Because I don't know that I've ever felt this deep, inherent, undying love for America. I've always wanted it. I've recognized what it's capable of, been frustrated what it's been, and been wanting to see it be more than it's ever been. And you're starting to see so many people realize that patriotism is something we all feel differently, and that's okay. It's not just waving a flag and voting for Donald Trump. My aunt, who was a school teacher, she got her Harris sign. She put it out, and she put up little American flags next to it.
Yeah.
My Harris Waltz sign came today. I bought little wooden flags I'm going to put next to it. I was listening to Danielle Moody's new podcast today on Woke AF, and the title of it was basically taking back our patriotism. A lot of people are talking about it because I don't think we realize how many different things were stolen from us by the Trump cult. And we're starting to get it back. Hope, joy, patriotism.
Yeah, I feel that too, man. And that's one of the reasons why I got the flag hanging behind me. There was a long period of time, man, where I just, like you're saying, they ruined it for a lot of us. And I caught myself, my grandfather was a World War II veteran. His younger brother was in Korea. So his younger brother started this tradition that he took an American flag and hung it at my grandpa's grave. And ever so often when it would get ragged, he would take it down and put up a new one. And that was just his thing with his brother, So then my great uncle passes away, and I go up to visit my grandpa's grave, and I'm like, okay, now somebody's going to have to take this ragged flag down and put up a new one. Who's going to do it? And so I took it upon myself to start doing it, and I would take the flag up there and hang it up on his grave, in his place. Now, I don't know if either one of those men, being, white dudes from the South, both voted Republican their entire life. I don't know if either of those men would agree with everything I say politically today, but I know they went to bat for democracy, and I know they went to bat for freedom. And so I had this moment where I went to buy a flag to take to my grandpa's grave, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy another one, and I'm going to hang another one behind me, because we can't let them take that from us. We're all patriotic in our own way, and there's and like you said, there's no right way or wrong way to be, and it's okay to criticize. I think that's one of the biggest things. It's okay to realize your flaws and realize what you could do better. Just because you're pointing out that something could be better doesn't mean you hate it.
Thank you for saying that. That's my biggest gripe about the right, where they swear up and down that the right to free speech is the right to be assholes.
Yeah.
Guess what? Read what the founders wrote. If you can read, I beg you, read what the founders wrote. The freedom of speech was something you didn't have under a monarchy. You couldn't criticize the king. The freedom of speech was not you to yell fire in a crowded theater. We know that's not protected speech. Free speech was the ability to criticize the people that are in charge. That's what it's about. And if you're not doing that, you're not patriotic. You should look when Kamala Harris wins and we could finally start seeing the end of Donald Trump and the end of MAGA and what that whole party represents. I can't wait to criticize the Kamala Harris administration. I can't wait to talk about policy again and hold other people accountable. Right now, we don't have the luxury of that. But
no, because Trump has no policies. There's really nothing to talk about other than how ridiculously stupid he is. But Kamala Harris is killing it. Like on the fundraising front, the Mike made an overlay for this one here. Harris election effort raises over around, I think it's over $500 million.
And now it's like over 540 now or something like that.
Since 5 weeks ago, a month.
Yeah.
$540 million, I think is what it's up to. That is absolutely.
It feels like that was 10 months ago. You know what I mean? There's something about the time. This year has been. Me and my dad was talking about this earlier, man. This year has been like one of the weirdest years. It's felt like it's just. And August has felt like it's 3 months long. To me.
You're absolutely right.
I think we're every day someone says how many days are left till the election. We're at 70. I don't like saying that out loud.
Well, if Trump wins, it will be an auction because Donald Trump will be selling off parts of America. All right, so let's go into another one of my favorite moments here at the show or at the DNC, which was Tim Walz addressing his family. And the right wing fucked up on this one. They never should have went after his kid. Oh my God, did they mess up on this one? But let me play this video, and then we have a comparison video to show you exactly how different JD Vance and Tim Walz are.
Oh boy.
If you've never experienced the hell that is infertility, I guarantee you know somebody who has. And I can remember praying each night for a phone call. The pit in your stomach when the phone had rang, and the absolute agony when we heard the treatments hadn't worked. It took Gwen and I years, but we had access to fertility treatments. And when our daughter was born, we named her Hope. Hope, Gus, and Gwen, you are my entire world, and I love you. I'm letting you in on how we started a family because this is a big part about what this election is about.
My God.
Freedom.
The more I know about this guy, the more I like him. Like I found out, I think it was last week, I found out that while he was in Congress, he didn't have any stock. He didn't use his position to enrich himself. He still to this day doesn't own any stocks or bonds. You know, just general like 401k checking and savings account kind of thing. Like he's a legitimate, like good person. So I'm excited.
Do not come for Gus. Do not come for Gus.
Oh yeah, don't come.
That was such a mistake on their part. I mean, it was expected immediately, but man, like when Ann Coulter started with her, you know, now that's weird. I was like, oh my God, and it just snowballed from there.
Yeah, but that is at their core what the Republican Party today is. Whether there are people that call themselves Republicans that aren't, I'm sorry, you're linked with this party as it is right now. And right now, this party hates women, hates kids, hates the disabled, hates developmentally challenged, differently challenged. Yeah. They hate anyone that isn't this little shoehorned archetype of an American. But what they truly hate is seeing joy in other people and other families. Their ideology forces them to have these family structures of rigid, you know, just, I don't know, demarcation between who's allowed to feel this and who's allowed to show that. And when you see a kid, okay, put aside that he has ADHD and he might have some challenges like that. His daughter was just as teary-eyed. Maybe she didn't jump up, but you're never going to see, right? I remember when Trump flew away from the White House, that glorious day, and his garbage pale kid children stood there. And then one of them, she was trying to force out a fake tear. None of those people feel that for him. He doesn't feel that for them.
Yeah.
They don't have a sense of pride in who they are. They have a sense of greed and self-preservation, and that's it. And it's
And I
so
think
apparent
that's
with Tim Walz.
one of the things that was completely obvious to me was how important family is to both Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Because the story that Kamala told, I thought was amazing. Because she really, came from nothing. She had to work her way up. Like, she is the middle class of America that made it in life. You know what I mean? She is the American dream. Her parents came here as immigrants. You know what I mean? Her dad left when she was young. Her mom worked her ass off to be able to put her through school.
But it's funny. The reason the right doesn't identify with her and can't see that story is because she's not white. That's it. They don't look at her and go, wow, my parents worked as hard as her parents and did what they could for me. And that's why I'm a better off place. They look at it and go, my white parents and me struggled because you're an immigrant. That's it. Yeah. That's where their brain stops.
Yeah. And these are the same people, as I was watching their reaction to Gus and how they just dragged that kid, I was thinking, okay, these are the same people that stood up and tried to gaslight us and tell us that Trump wasn't mocking the disabled reporter. They said, we didn't see that, and all the mockery that he's done, telling his nephew, disabled people should just go ahead and die. Yep, or you should let your son go ahead and die. And when we would call those things out and bring those receipts, they would say, oh, he would never do anything like that. And those same people that said that were the ones dragging Gus. Yep. So they just showed us for exactly who they were.
It's it's not an ability. It's that fractured reality that they exist in. Yeah. They cannot see the two halves. They live in completely different worlds within their own head. It's terrible.
They really do. So, all right, let's show... This is one of my favorite clips I was able to put together because for those who don't know, JD Vance tries very hard to be a human being. He's essentially just a billionaire funded robot. And you can tell in his interactions with normal people. And then see Tim Walz's reactions when he deals with the normal everyday people. And you can decide for yourself who's the weird one. Oh, this is so bad.
I'm from here, right here. I went to school. I was Did you really? Yes.
I'm sorry, man. Okay, yeah. She doesn't want to be on film, guys.
So what's your favorite?
Off to a rough start already.
How long have you worked here?
I've been here since the beginning of July.
Okay.
Oh, no. I don't know. I got there any day. That's my favorite one.
Okay.
This year.
Okay, good. How about you, sir?
Almost 2 years.
Okay.
How about this and mushroom?
What's with JD Vance's haircut? Just
good. Just everything. Yeah, I mean, a lot of glazed here, some sprinkle stuff, some of these cinnamon rolls, just whatever makes sense. How long has this place been around?
About 4 years.
About 4 years? Okay.
It's okay.
His name is Jorkis de Penis.
Get some runs at head. Grab some runs.
How long have you been here?
A little over 6 months.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay.
It's so robotic. You would think it was a skit. You would really think it was some sort of satirical skit if you just saw it.
You know what SNL should do? And I'm not a comedy writer. I don't know what I'm talking about, but they should just replicate that and not change anything. Just do that skit. That whole video is like 2 minutes long, and he says okay like the same way 30 times.
Yeah, there's a comedian that I follow named Matt Friend. He's great. He does a lot of impressions.
Oh yeah.
And he did a skit where he was doing some stand-up comedy, and he said, okay, I'm going to do what JD Vance did. And he just repeats what JD Vance said at one of the rallies, the one where he's like, this guy knows what I'm talking about. That he just repeated that whole thing back. And he's like, I didn't change a word of it, and you guys are dying laughing. I didn't change anything. You don't have to just it writes itself.
It's funny because we always say that, like, we'll take a Trump speech. Like, anytime somebody reads, if you read a Trump speech out loud, you sound like an insane person.
You do. I remember you did that one time when I was on a show, and it was great.
Yeah. I know.
Because it's not, you literally cannot make up the last 10 years we've had, or since 2016. Someone somewhere one day, even though it would bring attention to him, should compile a list of every damn thing Donald Trump has ever said or tweeted or posted. Because you can't make this shit up.
Imagine years from now when our grandkids are going to be reading that, like in the history books. You go back, you think about, if there is still history books, you think about like You think about like when we read stuff like, ask not what you can do for your country. Ask,
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
That's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I'll get it right in a minute. Well, you go back and read quotes like that, inspirational quotes, and then what are we going to have when we go back and read what Trump had to say? It's just so ridiculous.
I'll tell you what we'll have, the wrong
corn. It's not liquid.
Yeah, oh God, the corn one.
The corn speech is my favorite. It's non-liquid gold.
I'm sorry. When we piece together that he believes people are coming from asylums, and that's what people seeking asylum means, that I was done. I can't think
Brando,
anymore.
We have determined on the show that Donald Trump thinks asylum seekers looking for visas are crazy people coming to get credit cards. And we also have determined that when Donald Trump talks about whales being bothered by wind turbines, it's actually the country of Wales. But Donald Trump thinks that wind turbines are bothering actual fucking whales. So the guy's a moron.
And what's so funny is when he'll make these rants about like the battery and the shark, and then he'll get up there and he'll go, the fake news media says I talk about the battery and the shark. Well, and then he repeats it and he makes it worse. He doesn't try to like explain it in any way that would make it make sense. He just doubles down on it. And the whole Hannibal Lecter, they get me when I say Hannibal Lecter. Well, what about my old friend Hannibal Lecter, the late great Hannibal Lecter? You're like, every time he tries to go back, what was the one comment he made recently about the troops? It was his latest jab at the troops about the Congressional Medal of Freedom versus
my God.
That.
Damn.
When they asked him to clarify that, he just dug his heels in and made it worse. I was like, just stop talking, please. You're just burying yourself further.
I have always said he's a bad grifter.
No idea.
He's not good at it.
Yeah,
he has no idea what somebody has to go through to get the Congressional Medal of Honor. I assure you, none of them won the Congressional Medal of Honor. They received it for going through some of the most horrific events a human being could possibly go through. And this dipshit wants to compare it to the Congressional Medal of Freedom just because that person's not all shot up and shit.
Yeah, and when he doubled down on it, he made it worse by just being like, well, I don't think anyone's ever had to suffer for the presidential one.
So what's better?
Damn. Yeah, I'm like, God,
bro. He doesn't understand. He doesn't understand service. He does not understand doing something for the country or doing something for somebody other than yourself.
I was just going to say, I'm going to take it one step further and say he doesn't understand selflessness.
No.
He does not understand doing things just to be good.
Yeah.
Oh God, no.
There's a thing, and I forgot what it's called, and whatever. I'm stupid that way. In Japan, and I might be wrong, but I've watched a few videos about this. There's no one in charge of cleaning the public restrooms. People clean the public restrooms in secret because there's like a belief that you only really get back what you give if you do it with no one knowing. So literally, people will just clean the public bathrooms to gather up some good karma. You can't
be
get
such a nice way to live. If other people did shit just because it's a good thing to do, that would actually be a nice society to live in, I think. But all right, so we're almost at a half an hour already, so we're gonna skip ahead a little bit. So another one of my favorite moments at the DNC, because I want to start talking about Trump because we got some good Trump stuff too.
We got stuff we have to talk about for Trump. That's happening.
The Michelle and Barack Obama going back to back was, I think, amazing. And I knew Trump was just at home, just seething with anger. The guy hated it. But I think my favorite moment from the DNC, other than probably Kamala Harris's speech, was when Kamala Harris did a pop-up concert, basically, in an entirely different state, not only filling the DNC arena, she filled the arena where they just had the RNC at the same time.
They're playing a different game altogether.
They're on another level. So let me play this real quick. This was great.
From exciting Chicago. The delegates at the Democratic National Convention, well, they just completed their roll call.
Just look at it. Look at it.
Look how happy they are, man.
And they have nominated Coach Walls and me to be the next Vice President and President of the United States of America.
I mean, just look at the energy.
Yep.
I got goosebumps just
when
replaying
she
the videos.
I'm sure I'm picking at this, and I'm about to say a good thing, not a bad thing. I'm sure I'm seeing something that's not there, but it's those little bits of character that Kamala and Tim show that are totally barren in Donald Trump. She introduced Tim Walz first.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
again, I could be looking at this for no reason, but it isn't even in Donald Trump to name anyone but himself first. The fact that she took that moment to just mention him and then herself, that's what people are that are freaking humble and human and respect each other. You think Trump respects Vance for being his running mate? No, because he doesn't like him. He doesn't like anyone. Do you think Kamala respects Tim Walz for being a part of this and bringing in what he brings to this campaign? You bet your ass she does.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
Oh,
it's a great point.
Brando, did you hear about this new thing? Because Mike has some information on it that I definitely want to go over. They're trying to say that Kamala Harris is not legally allowed to run for president.
Yeah, we've been down this road before, ain't we?
Oh my God.
Wow.
There's a Republican group that says Kamala can't be president because of a 170-year-old Supreme Court decision likens her to a slave. And I will read this, and then I will go through exactly what that means. The 90-year-old Federation of Republican Assemblies, sounds like a Klan meeting, cited the 1857 Dred Scott Supreme Court decision to state Harris cannot run for president per the Constitution of the United States. A reminder, Dred Scott versus Sanford declared that slaves weren't U.S. citizens and thus not protected by the federal government. Here's just a little more on that. It was a landmark decision of the United States Supreme Court that held the Constitution did not extend American citizenship to people of Black African descent. Interesting. But if you were of white African descent, anyway, and therefore they could not enjoy the rights and privileges the Constitution conferred upon American citizens. The decision is widely considered the worst in Supreme Court history. It's a disgusting, monstrous, racially bigoted piece of crap Supreme Court decision. I'm sure Clarence Thomas would agree with it. And that's so by doing that, by saying that Kamala Harris can't be president because she's not a citizen, what they're saying is that every Black American is not a citizen. We're actually at the point in 2024, 70 days from a presidential election, where a major political party is trying to weasel their way into court to say that the Dred Scott decision was right.
Yeah.
And that Kamala Harris and all Black people are not American citizens.
That's what they're trying to say.
It's absolutely insane that we're here, man. If you'd have told me back when I was in high school, back in the 90s, if you'd have said, where will we be in 2024 when it comes to racism and things of that nature, I would have said, we will be leaps and bounds ahead. All those things will be in the past. We'll get better. But Trump just came along, and I feel like he just ripped that Band-Aid off that wound and just poured salt in it. And just, and now we've got people going back and digging up. They've literally went back and dug up so many old laws to try to make their point. And like you said earlier, they want to go back. When they say make America great again, there's a great clip from Bryan Cranston where he explains that,
one of my favorites.
they're wanting to go back to a time when white people couldn't vote and women had no rights. That's where they, because when was it ever great for Black people? When was it ever great for women? Is the point he makes. Yeah.
Don't forget, in their little vision of the 50s, women weren't overloaded on painkillers and alcohol because their husbands came home and beat them and they couldn't escape because they couldn't get credit cards, or have bank accounts. They didn't, in their vision of 1950s, all their kids weren't gay because you just beat the shit out of them if they hinted at it, and there was no option. People didn't know they could be gay. In that world, where capitalism was still something like pro wrestling, where people pretended and thought it was a real system, that actually benefited people, where you could buy a house and a car and have your 2.5 kids on one salary. That world not only never existed, it only existed at a time where it was useful for the people who ran it. Now they realize they don't need to pretend that anymore, and they could just destroy us, and we do nothing about it. Well, now I think people are starting to wake up. Gen Z, everyone laughs that they quiet quit and that they don't want to work 90 hours a week to pay for a half rent.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that, because it's freaking insane. So which party is really speaking to who around here?
Exactly.
Yeah. Gen X, we're the suckers, man. We're the ones that thought if we worked hard all our lives at one job or whatever, we'd, have a good life and be able to retire. And then we got 20 years into that shit. And we're like, yo, this is some fucking bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? All right. Anyway, let's go. All right. Let me go ahead and let's get to Trump, who is apparently celebrating the 1-year anniversary of his mugshot, which was on August 24th. The guy's a psycho. All right. Donald Trump
it's just so dumb.
He's an idiot. And here's a video I made. It started as a Kamala Harris video mocking Trump for backing out of the debate, which we can talk about. But I just added a bunch of fun stuff too. So let's play that real quick.
When I heard about it, how does the press get this information that's classified? How do they do it? You know why? Because it's an illegal process. Because people get bored, but they don't get bored with me.
6.5 hours later.
Lawyers and carpenters and your electricians and your drivers, and you're doing a lot of things. You are old enough to have seen a time that was much different. You never saw heads chopped off until a few years ago. By the way, no
beautiful F-35 Lightnings.
Lisa's blowing up. Russia's blowing up. Didn't work. They paid millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to consultants and lawyers, and they failed.
Why not debate her?
Well, wait. But because they already know everything. They say, oh, Trump's, not doing the debate. That's the same thing they'll say now. I mean, right now I say, why should I do a debate? I'm leading in the polls. And everybody knows her. Everybody knows me. But when I looked at the hostility of that, I said, why am I doing that?
The Harris team is so good at trolling Donald Trump.
They are.
Good. All they had they added the chicken noises. I didn't add that, but I added and the accordion hands, though. I just love playing that video. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Because that's his only go-to move. At that and face sticking. Don't forget his
face sticking.
Go-to dance move.
I will never understand how they just look at this guy and think he is the pinnacle of forget alpha and maleness. I don't care. How do you look at that man and think he's a leader? Look at some of this information coming out now. So apparently Trump is wasting campaign money in Florida because he'll be mad if there's no ads on TV. So what do we mean by that? The campaign is spending around $48,000 between August 27th and September 2nd. Think about that. Around the West Palm Beach, around the West Palm Beach area in Florida near Mar-a-Lago. Trump is in little danger of losing Florida, this person said, but his staff is in greater danger of incurring his wrath if he and his Palm Beach pals don't see his Mar-a-Lago. So in other words, he is so dumb. He's so dumb he doesn't understand he's going to win the town that he lives in. He doesn't need to run ads there because he's such a freaking child, such an infinite and a small, tiny little man. They got to run ads for him so he thinks his money's going to something.
But that goes to show you they're not telling him the truth. They're not. His people are not telling him what's really going on. You can
he's surrounded himself by all these people, and it kind of reminds me. I always make boxing analogies on my channel, but it kind of reminds me of the fight between Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson. Because in any other era, Mike Tyson should have, any other night of the week, Mike Tyson should have knocked him out the first round. But he goes over there, he just surrounds himself with his buddies. He fired the crew that trained him and taught him how to box. He fired all them, and he just got a bunch of his buddies around him, And then he goes over there, gets in the ring, everything starts falling apart, and his buddies are going, "You're doing great. Just keep at it." So got his ass whipped. It's the same thing. We're just sitting back watching him come unglued, and and he's got these people surrounded him that he just put there to tell him it's all okay, but they have to be pulling their hair out if they got any reasonable bone at all. There has to be a moment where they're going, "He's off the rails. How do we really mean?"
This is a guy that
tried to wrangle him in. They've been trying to They've been trying to give him smaller events. They've been trying to wrangle him in, and he cannot stay on message. Then he posts shit like this. I'm sorry. Let me show this post real quick.
Finish it.
This is like Donald Trump died halfway through the post, or I don't know what happened, but let's read this. This is a deleted post that he put on True Social. These are great patriots who worked their heart outs to have a strong and powerful border, only to be harassed by the border czar, Kamala Harris, who wants the... And that's it.
Yes, deleted that.
That's the end of the post. So
wait, I'm going to do it. That is called coming down from Adderall.
Allegedly. Yeah, that is called nodding off. Okay, some people know what that's all about.
Also, at any age, maybe don't be up at 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning tweeting. Go to sleep at some point. When you're 80,
oh yeah,
you don't need to be up all that time. I'm just saying. Like I was going to say, this is a guy whose ego is so fragile. He pays someone to follow him around on a golf cart when he's golfing with a printer and print out positive articles for him.
I know. I would do that. That person gets paid like $100,000 a month.
What? Look, it's either be
print positive stories about him.
Either be Trump's personal happy article printer or Snoop Dogg's personal blunt roller. Those are the two options.
No, where do you apply for these jobs? Anyway, all right. Let's move on because we have some we still have a lot to talk about. First, let me play. All right, yeah. So after Kamala Harris got done with her speech, which was only 37 minutes, remember Trump's was over 90. Donald Trump posted over 40 times on Truth Social while Kamala Harris only spoke for 37 minutes. So he posted more than once a minute. And some of the stuff he was saying, he put out gems like this one. Waltz is an assistant coach, not a coach. And then he also put out lying again about Project 2025, which she knows, and so do all Democrats that I have absolutely nothing to do with. Yeah, okay, buddy. We just played the video of Russell Vogt saying, don't worry about it. Trump's just going to tell everybody he's not involved in Project 2025, but he's on board.
Let's be fair. He probably is too stupid to remember it or have understood it. The guy just, at best, he's like, who am I endorsing this moment? Okay. And then he just stream of conscious bullshits. The guy doesn't have a thought. He doesn't have a thought process. He doesn't put ideas together and form opinions. That's not how his brain functions.
So immediately after Kamala Harris's speech, he posts on Truth Social, I'm going on Fox News. So he does.
Oh God.
He not only does he call into Fox News, they had to cut him off because they ran out of time. Then he calls into the next show, which is Greg Gutfeld, who's a complete douche nozzle. And then when that didn't go the way he wanted, he calls into Newsmax. And then he claims that they all called him. He didn't call them. They called
because he's a ratings machine.
And they made it absolutely impossible for him. They made it that you have to get 60-70% of the vote just to get in. And you know what?
Okay.
In the end, the Democrats did the same thing to Joe Biden.
Okay.
They threw Joe Biden out of the party.
And that's
they
why
did
we
the
saw a
same
different
thing
night
as they did to RFK.
Mr. President, thank you so
very
much
sir.
for the time. We
Okay.
appreciate
Very
that
much.
live feedback.
Hey, Mr. President, I'm live now. Say hello to my audience. Don't say anything that'll get you in trouble. All right, Mr. President.
Points down.
Yeah.
And they said he has to get out, and they basically staged a coup.
Yeah.
And let's all see how it happens. But I think we're doing very well.
All right.
We're going to do very well.
All right, Mr. P.
But I will tell you, I just watched it. Very nonspecific. She didn't talk about many things like interest rates, China, fracking, and anywhere, let alone Pennsylvania.
I will now list
crime,
things.
poverty, trade deficits, child trafficking, woman trafficking, drugs, the border. We didn't talk about
What is
the most
woman
important
trafficking? Like, I know he must somewhere deep down mean human trafficking, but he's trying to find a way to like make it more exaggerated and scary. Am I giving him too much credit? Woman trafficking?
Is there woman trafficking in Tennessee that we're not aware of, Brando? Or is
I'm
this
sure
just-
there's trafficking everywhere. Oh my
He's so
God.
nuts. It's so cringe, and like you said, that the idea that people looks at this dude and thinks he's their leader and shares this stuff like, hey, you know, I'm solidly behind this. I don't understand it. I can understand, like I've had people on my show that voted for Trump in 2016, and they was like, you know what, we were tired of the same old system. We kind of tuned in late. in the election year, saw Hillary Clinton running against Donald Trump, went, well, we've had Clintons in the White House before, so what if we give this businessman a try? And then midway through his term, they realize, oh crap, what a disaster this is, and started back.
Right.
I can give people a pass for it back then, but if you're still hanging on at this point in the game and you're buying digital trading cards and all that crap, you've just lost me.
It's hard for someone like myself, who's always been like a political junkie, to accept that there are people that don't look at politics as obsessively as I do. And even in the times when I'm not like into it daily, I'm always up on what's going on.
Yeah.
So I have to find the room in my heart to be like, you're right. There are people that follow it barely from their peripheral.
You get the highlight version.
Because, and there's nothing wrong with that. But then I have to accept that was the scam all along. Those people, like you said, Brando, are not going to vote for him. And they didn't vote for him. People forget how much of a landslide Biden won by. People want to pretend it wasn't. Donald Trump wants to pretend it wasn't, but it was. Okay, then you look at the midterms, and they got destroyed again because they went after Roe. We're talking about people who now they're attacking issues that affect people, not just like what the gas prices are, but I want to make sure my daughter has rights. These are the people that are looking at things a little more closely now. But it goes to show you all they care about is themselves. It's a party full of narcissists. Here's a perfect example of not only Trump's narcissism, but the people who are his surrogates. This was at a rally where Carrie Lake was speaking, and the teleprompter, this is the second message. The second message, the first one was at 5 minutes and it's something. It just said, please get off the stage. This one is literally saying Trump waiting. Then, I don't know if you guys saw it. There was a video the other day where Trump was with, it might have been in Arizona at the border where there was like a police chief. The police chief was talking, and you could hear Trump being like, stop talking. I want to talk now, basically. And the guy's like, oh, he gathers up his paper. Like,
but before I get in that video, because Brando brought up the NFTs, we got to talk about, because Donald Trump released more NFTs. And if you buy 15, you get a piece of his shirt or his suit that he wore during the debate. Now, keep in mind, they're only $99 a piece. So you only have to spend $1,500 fucking dollars to get a piece of a suit. And
this is the guy that's going to bring down the prices.
Right. And if
you could buy his gold shoes for $300 too.
Yeah.
If you buy all of them, I think there's 75 in total in the video. It says for $99 a piece, you get to go to Mar-a-Lago and have dinner with Donald Trump and take pictures for $7,500. These people are in a cult, and this is just demented. But this ad is funny.
Hello, everyone. This is your favorite president, Donald J. Trump. Some very exciting news. By popular demand, I'm doing a new series of Trump digital trading cards. You all know what they are. We've had a lot of fun with them. The America First collection. 50 all new stunning digital trading cards. It's really something. These cards show me dancing and even me holding some bitcoins. Here's the best part. I'm doing great things for my Trump digital card collectors. First, there's the real physical Trump cards. Purchase 15 or more of my Trump digital trading cards and we'll mail you a beautiful physical trading card. Each physical trading card has an authentic piece of my suit I wore for the presidential debate.
I'm immature.
And people are calling it the knockout suit. I don't know about that, but that's what they're calling it. So we'll cut up the knockout suit and you're going to get a piece of it. And we'll be randomly autographing 5
Sorry, bodily functions make me laugh. I can't help it.
Number 2 is to purchase 75 of my Trump digital trading cards, and you will also be invited to join me for a gala dinner at my beautiful country club in Jupiter, Florida. I'm keeping my Trump digital trading cards at the same price of $99 each. We've done that right from the beginning. You just need an email address and a credit card or crypto. You know, they call me the crypto president. I don't know if that's true. People are saying that, so don't miss out. Go to collecttrumpcards.com.
Yep.
I cannot count the times. I'm sure you guys go through the same thing. When you're trying to gather clips, to react to whatever video you're making that day, how many times do you guys catch yourself saying, is this real? Is this
Yes,
real
every
life?
minute
And you
of every
double
day.
check it, triple
Yes.
check it before you talk about it because you're afraid you're going to react to something that was satire and someone
Yep.
that
Oh my God.
if they played that on Saturday Night Live and just did the same exact thing, the audience
Yep.
would be roaring with laughter.
Well,
Right?
I was worried. This is why I was worried when I got sent an advanced copy of one of the cards. I was hoping that this wasn't a hoax. And to be fair, it is the only cryptocurrency endorsed by Hannibal Lecter. And since we all know that Donald Trump believes that bitcoins are mined out of the ground and are physical currency, this one
He does.
has what I believe is his most important statement yet running for president. That says, when I am president, all bitcoins will be mined in America. I won't let China buy our beautiful land full of bitcoins. So, yeah,
He
that's a good thing
actually
to know.
said
Always watch
that
if something's bullshit.
Donald Trump thinks bitcoins are real.
Okay, all right, so
physical
that was
coins,
obviously
man.
bullshit, but I'm just saying your point is valid, Brando, because there are plenty of
no.
times I'll send Jeremy a video and he's like, no, look at the account. I'm like,
Oh my
damn.
God, Brando, have you ever seen the ad? I think it was at a Turning Point USA event or something for Freedom Water.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Holy shit. I had to look it up like 10 times. I'm like, there's no fucking way this is a real ad. You
Yeah.
can drink water and make a statement at the same time. I'm like, it's water.
No, but
Like,
he's pushing this Bitcoin thing, right? We have a comment that he has no idea what Bitcoin is. He doesn't. He has said he's holding Bitcoins. He said something about bringing Bitcoin manufacturing back to the U.S. from China. And this is all because his recently 18-year-old son, who may or may not have tortured animals on the White House lawn,
allegedly,
okay, is encouraging him to like get into crypto, and his idiot sons are just looking for ways to launder money for their habit.
They are. They're talking about launching their own Trump crypto.
Come on.
Trump
if you buy
crypto.
Trump
Theory,
crypto,
I
you
swear
are
to
the
God, look
dumbest
it up.
person that's ever existed.
Donald Trump is trying to come out with his own cryptocurrency. I'm not even playing. It's absolutely stupid. What's going on is you're right. Barron or one of these guys is going up to him like, yo, Dad. It's probably not how Barron talks. You know what I mean? Like, yo, President Trump. He probably makes Barron call him president. All right, anyway. But yeah, this is all these kids' ideas, and then Donald Trump has no idea what crypto is, so now he's got a bunch of people around him, all these crypto guys that are trying to tell him
crypto bros.
He can't comprehend it. So yeah, it's not going to happen. But if you
he doesn't understand how tariffs work, or crypto, or finances, or buying bread. You need a license to buy bread.
You have to have ID to buy bread. All right, let's talk about. All right, we got past the NFTs. That was bad enough, but now let's talk about the RFK, the whole RFK thing. Because I think JD Vance should be checking his emails and watching his messages, because he may be getting a phone call telling him not to show up for work tomorrow. But these are some things about RFK that recently have come to light. One was the brain worm, which was interesting. The other one was him eating an actual dog. There's a picture of it.
Yep.
And it was verified by actual veterinarians. Yep. Holding the carcass of the dog, which I think may have something to do with how you got brain worms. I'm not.
Well, him putting his hand in the mouth of the bear, the dead bear cub in Central Park that he just left on a park bench.
Was next on my list, the bear
and
cub.
What's the newest one?
The fucking whale head.
Was that real?
His daughter told the story.
Wow.
He cut off a dead whale's head with a chainsaw and then put the whale's head on top of their family vehicle and drove home for 5 hours. And his daughter's name is Kick, who I think is actually Ben Affleck, if I'm not mistaken. Well, we'll find out here soon. She said that when they would brake or accelerate, like, whale juice would just run into the car, and it was the most putrid smelling thing. Like, this guy's supposed to be an environmentalist, and he's a psycho. He's an absolute psycho.
And he's the guy that Trump wants to put in charge of health. That's the guy that's going to make America healthy again.
Yeah, he wants to put This is why RFK Jr. is supporting Trump, because he called Kamala Harris and they're like,
Give me a
don't
job.
answer that.
Give me a job.
Don't answer that call.
Yeah.
So then he called Trump and Trump was like, okay, what do you want to endorse me? He goes, I want to be in charge of the Department of Health and Human Services. Trump goes, okay.
Yeah.
RFK supports him. He's a total sellout. His whole family's out against him. But here's a video first of Donald Trump making fun of how many times Donald Trump looked like an idiot. And then the RFK endorsement.
And she mentioned thank you about 50 times. Did you see the beginning? Thank you, 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 thank you. I said, what the hell is wrong with her? But then she recovered. She did much better. But she didn't tell anything. She didn't say anything. We just had a very nice endorsement from RFK Jr., Bobby. RFK Jr. is a Democrat plant. We'll be talking about that. We're heading out right after this. We're going to be going to Arizona. We'll be talking about that and a lot of other things too. Open border advocate. He wants those borders to be wide open for more people to come in from prisons and mental institutions. I want to thank Bobby. That was very nice. That was really very nice. I'd even take Biden over Jr. It's big. He's a great guy. Respected by everybody.
Now he's Bobby all of a sudden.
All right,
Oh,
yeah. Before he was
Well, they're
Kennedy
trying to
or
confuse
RFK Jr.
QAnon because they don't know the difference.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't QAnon? They believe that not RFK Jr., but one
John
of the
F. Kennedy
Kennedys.
Jr.
John F. Kennedy.
John F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah.
was supposed to come back from the dead and be Donald Trump's vice
So,
president for running mate.
one
No
of
question,
our-
believe that.
One of our viewers reacted to the fact that we mentioned the dog thing. So I'm sorry for this. That's the dog.
Oh God, that's the picture.
That's the dog.
That's real.
That is the exact moment RFK Jr. got brain worms. Because you actually get brain worms from eating like undercooked wild meat or whatever. So that's one of the ways you can get brain worms. But yeah, it's just a weird story. He's a weird guy. He thinks that COVID was genetically engineered to target white people.
Yeah.
The guy's crazy as shit. And it's funny because they always talk about how built he is. Like RFK has a physique that Trump supporters wish Donald Trump had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all the memes they make of Donald Trump being all buff and stuff. And RFK is actually in good shape.
I just love how, yet again, how do I impress a bunch of men as a man? Take my shirt off and show them my muscles. But we hate gay people.
Yeah.
These people are sad.
Just be
Extremely
gay.
sad.
Just be gay.
I know.
No, we don't care. You know how they like we come to the dark side, we have cookies. Come to the left. We don't care if you're gay.
Oh, I almost forgot about this. Okay, again, we just said that we're going to put this guy in charge of Trump's going to put this guy in charge of Department of Health and Human Services. And then right after RFK Jr. supports Donald Trump, he takes to Twitter and then posts something like this. So this person posted, I call them tanker terminators. We are paid more than any other pilot. Chemtrail pilot whistleblower. I am convinced the majority of them are remotely operated. The tech obviously exists, and there's way too many. So what does RFK Jr. post? We are going to stop this crime. The guy thinks chemtrails are real.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. Do you think that Brando, do you think this is going to help Trump at all, or is it just going to make him look even worse?
I think it's going to make him look even worse. I mean, there was people. The funny part about this to me is that there was some people starting to drift away from Trump because Trump wasn't crazy enough. So I mean, it just shows me that he's trying to pull back the worst of the worst. When he says that, like, well, he'll say things like Democrats all know that I'm not associated with Project 2025, and it's just these comments he makes. He clearly doesn't know anything about us.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what we stand for, believe, or think at all. And I've seen people in my part of the world saying things like, well, Kennedy was a Democrat, he was or Bobby Kennedy's son and all this. And I'm like, I feel like a lot of people in my part of the world, honestly, guys, I feel like they don't really know RFK Jr. That's why I try to do as many videos on him as I can and talk about him. I think a lot of people just don't want to be argumentative, and they may have like a dad that's like, for Trump and a mom that isn't. And when they come to dinner, it's like, well, I'm just going to say RFK Jr. so I don't have to argue. It's like they try to take that middle of the road. And I don't. At the end of the day, I think once more people learned who he is and what he's about, I don't think he's going to help him at all.
I think it's just fascinating, like you said. Trump is trying to pull in whatever he can to get the votes. So now he's got the crazy conspiracy vote. Great, but he's not even good at it, because you could tell he's fracturing, and we already know his handlers say he can't stay on message because he's tweeting stuff during the DNC like, no one's protected women's reproductive rights like me. If you want to protect IVF, vote for me. Well, okay, let's say and pretend for a moment you believe in those things. Your voters don't. So who are you trying to get votes from? Are you trying to court the right still? Or are you trying to think that you can convince people on the left that I like that too? Well, you said you're not for the abortion ban that you tried to get. Well, you've already alienated the evangelicals. So let me try and get the Democrats. They'll vote for me now.
Oh, shoot. I don't have the one where, Donald Trump just came out, I think it was yesterday or the day before. And he's like, I support IVF and I'm the best for women's rights. Like, what?
Yeah, it's
no, you can't say that now, dude. It's too late for that. All right. So we have like 10 minutes left. We're actually already in an hour. I can't believe this is going by this fast. But I want to talk about his Arizona rally. Well, it's not even a rally. Well, he goes to the border, and this is where Mike came up with the term clown face. We've all seen Donald Trump in blackface and orange face and two-tone face. Now he's in clown face. Look at his mouth. Like, he looks like he's physically melting.
Had time for this country in many ways. You had a candidate. I was no fan of Joe Biden, but the way he was taken out was a coup. He got 14 million votes, and the person running now got none. She was disgraced. She was figured out by the Democrat voters. She never made it to Iowa. She was the first one out of approximately 22 people that were running for the Democrat nomination. She never even made it to Iowa. Beautiful place, Iowa. But she didn't. Plenty of people did. And Biden got 14 million votes. She got no votes. And now she's...
Okay, so he's at the border. He's supposed to be talking about the border. The thing on the front of the lectern says Trump at the border. You know what I mean? And he's talking about how Kamala Harris... See, for some reason, he doesn't understand when Joe Biden got those 14 million votes to become the Democratic presidential nominee. Kamala Harris was on the ticket.
Exactly.
She's right there.
It's so crazy how I've had to say that so many times to people. It's just like, she didn't get one vote. Like, she was no part of it at all.
She got 14 million.
Well, but again, he spent the first part of the election cycle saying things about Biden, and now he's just saying the same things about Harris, as if Harris is the president, but he said it about Biden. So if he said it about Biden and now he's saying about Harris, which one did it? But It doesn't matter. Obviously, we're trying to use logic, and logic and MAGA are like oil and water, but he's still trying it because he doesn't know or care.
And what's funny is he'll sit there when he's talking about picking JD Vance, like, well, the vice presidential pick really doesn't matter. It's I'm going to be making all the decisions.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, if the president makes all the decisions, then why? Now they're saying, oh, she could fix the border between now and the election. She could do it if she wanted to. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Again, these are people that think the presidential office is a magic tower, and the person who has that office is a wizard. They don't understand the scope of the presidency. They believe the president can just do whatever they want. They don't understand that both the president and Kamala Harris did quite a lot of work to try and get that bill passed that Donald Trump then demanded was canceled. Okay. Exactly. People ask, what did Harris do? She went around raising money. She was securing deals for when the money got funded that they'd be able to hire more people, more technology. Did it happen? No. Why? Donald Trump wants to be elected president so he could be powerful again. That's it.
And then my thing with Donald Trump is like, he wants the border to be an issue so he can fix the border, but he was already in office for 4 years and never fixed the border. Yeah. He likes to say he did. I shut the border down. I didn't need Congress. No, dipshit. Border crossings rose by 300%. during Trump's office or term. So
wasn't it? It might have been Boebert. There was some fact that came out about the number of like fentanyl and or in general drug seizures at the border. And it was like a ridiculously high number, way higher than when Trump was president. And she was like, you see, that proves that they're letting just drugs come in. And everyone's like, no, they're catching more of it. It doesn't mean more is coming they're not catching. It means they're catching more of it. Like they don't understand even the concepts that they're talking about. And especially when you live in a constant state of exaggerated lies, it's impossible to keep that up forever. Keep that same effort to keep your lies straight. They're just all nuts.
All right, let me play this last video. This was actually, you mentioned this earlier, Mike. This is Donald Trump. Donald Trump likes to say they back the blue and they're all for the police. Well, here is, I can't remember what his actual position is. I think he represents the police union or something.
He was like a police chief or something. I don't know.
Yeah, former police chief or something like that. And here's Donald Trump telling them to kick rocks and get off the stage. It's my turn. He's such an arrogant gas bag, man.
Flowing into our countries, and that's the only ones we know about. Illegal drugs are flowing into this country at an alarming rate, with only 5% being intercepted at the border. Okay.
Could you wrap it up? They really
Barack Hussein Obama. He was nasty to me. You know, he was nasty. Michelle was nasty. They're all nasty. Nasty people. They were very nasty. I was surprised. I thought he was, and I was sort of nice to him. I said, no, I like him. Good. It didn't
I was
matter.
nice to him.
They were nasty to me.
Birtherism.
What is he talking about? Like he's bitching and moaning like a
he's
child.
The perfect archetype of a bully. I'm gonna shit on you, but if you shit on me, I'm gonna run to the principal and be like, look, how could this happen to me?
That's exactly what he is.
Oh my God, it's so sad, and I don't understand how people support him. Still, I don't understand how. Even
Because
when
he
Biden
does
was running, I
represent-
just still.
There's two things. He represents the worst America has to offer, unfortunately.
He really does.
And the people that are proud of it. And there are, as much as I hate to admit it, and I don't really have sympathy for them, so I'm going to say it, though, there are people who fell for the grift and are part of the cult. Those are two different people.
Yeah.
And that's who he has.
And keep in mind, brainwashing is a real thing. Propaganda is a real thing. And not only does Donald Trump have his own platform, he has other platforms helping him in his quest to become king of America. He's got Twitter.
Corporate media.
Exactly. Corporate media is a huge problem in this country, which is why I rarely get any of my information from corporate media. Maybe MSNBC, maybe depending on who the host is from CNN. But
there's a reason that the Kamala Harris campaign invited over 200 independent digital media creators, both influencers and people like from the Midas Touch, because they understand that people started losing touch with politics when they stopped trusting and relying on the people whose jobs it was to give us the information we needed to make real decisions.
Yeah.
Guess what corporate media doesn't do anymore? Journalism. Guess who's doing journalism now? People like the Midas Touch, people like Mary Trump Network. I mean, my God, there are people doing real journalism and they aren't getting paid by corporate media. And Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and those of us that are in the older generations that understand what our future should be and what should look like, we're getting in on it. Okay,
Mike, we report the news
part of it because we want to be part of the whole truth sphere. The movement.
I honestly think we here at our show report the news more fairly and accurate than the corporate news, and we don't even get paid for it.
And we'll tell you right now, we are proudly an opinion show that tries to support our opinions with facts, and we do by accident more truthful journalism than anyone on the corporate media anymore.
Yeah, I always tell my viewers that same thing. I'm like, look, if I get it wrong, I'm going to come back and tell you. I'm going to tell you where I got the facts wrong. If I do, we're stating our opinion, and I think a lot of people, going back to the free speech argument, I think a lot of people gets confused and thinks that they're just allowed to say anything with no accountability whatsoever. It's like, no, if you fact check me, if one of you guys was to send me a message and say, hey, Brando, I saw this video and you said, this, and I looked into it and it ain't true, and you brought the evidence, brought the receipts, I would come back on. I'm like, hey guys, guess what? Mike and Jeremy sent me some info I wasn't aware of, and I have no problem admitting that I was wrong. But I think there's a lot of people that have a problem with that and can't be the bigger person.
And that's the perfect example. Trump cannot admit he's wrong because he is inherently weak and has no substance. So if he's wrong, that's all he has. If we're wrong, we understand that our name matters. What we're trying to do, what we're trying to be a part of matters. And if you can't take criticism and can't admit you're wrong, you can't do that job.
There's got to be, if we're going to do what we do, there has to be a amount of integrity, because the right has none. So it's basically on our, and honestly, we don't need to lie. The truth really is on our side, 100% this time.
I agree.
I think we will prevail here in November when the elections come around. So we are unfortunately out of time. Brando, do you got anything going on here coming up?
Just I'm gonna be going live this Friday on YouTube, but just trying to stay busy and keep on sorting through all this madness, man. And I really appreciate you guys having me back on the show. It's always a great time when we're together.
Get more ridiculous.
Yeah, we try and entertain. We do our best.
Oh yeah.
Sorry about all the fart noises. I just can't help myself sometimes.
And now wait, now that we did the streaming experiment and we know we're going to be able to do it for Election Day, I'm telling you, Brando, you're invited. I want to have people popping in and out all night. Whoever has time, 5 minutes, something weird happens, we're going to be bugging everyone we know constantly that night. So just be ready for it.
I will be.
Absolutely. And everybody, if you want to follow, if you're not already following Tennessee Brando, his YouTube channel information is in the description of the video.
Thank you.
So more than welcome to check that out. Yeah. Thanks. Nice. So yeah, please like and subscribe our video as well while you're here. If you'd like to help Mike and I out, I hate doing this, but we do have a GoFundMe page. We are trying to get better studio equipment to put together an even more proper show. So if you'd like to help us out, but if you can't donate, obviously just liking and subscribing, leaving a comment, sharing our videos is more than enough help that we could possibly ask for. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. And tonight we're going to leave out with a new Lincoln Project ad about Kamala Harris. So everybody have a good night. We love you all. And
awesome.
Of course,
Thank you guys.
Talk to you soon. Thanks for coming on again, Brando.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Our nation with this election has a precious, fleeting opportunity to move past the bitterness, cynicism, and divisive battles of the past, a chance to chart a new way forward, not as members of any one party or faction, but as Americans. I promise to be a president for all Americans. I will be a president who unites us around our highest aspirations. Let us show each other and the world who we are. And together, let us write the next great chapter in the most extraordinary story ever told.